Let's go. What's going on, folks? Welcome to the Team Tremendous Gaming YouTube channel. My name is Crazy Vazy Marazy, and in this video, I will be discussing the top 10 improvements I'd like to see added to the game Destiny. Let's go. Number 10. Give Sparrows unique abilities. Currently, the Sparrow's only purpose is to transport you across the large environments on Destiny. Most of these Sparrows are very similar, and there's not usually a good reason to use one Sparrow over another. In other words, there's no purpose in having more than one or maybe two Sparrows at a time, which means those other 7 or 8 inventory slots simply go to waste. I think it would be a great idea to make the Sparrows more functional by creating a more diverse selection. Perhaps this could be done by creating offensive, supportive, and defensive Sparrow types with different abilities. For example, some Sparrows could have various types of weapons, others could have a stun ability or maybe even shielding of some sort. Number 9. Allow free color manipulation. As you know, Destiny is very limited when it comes to aesthetic customization. If you want to change the color of your armor, you must use one of the preset shaders, and even then you're limited to the colors of the shaders that you found so far or have purchased. To make it worse, you can select only one shader to apply to your full suit of armor. I personally would like to see Bungie open up the full spectrum of colors for free manipulation, and also allow more freedom with where on your armor those colors can be applied. Number 8. Add a map. Now, the lack of a map is not an issue when you're playing story missions, since your radar always provides a waypoint towards your next objective. However, it is an issue when attempting to complete certain bounties. This has become ever more apparent with the addition of the Reef bounties in the latest Fallen Wolves DLC. Many of these bounties require you to eliminate specific targets located in very specific areas. If you've not memorized the names and locations of these areas, which most gamers haven't, then you're forced to Google the location or travel the entire map until you find it. To put simply, just add a map, Bungie. It's hard to believe these advanced ghosts capable of reviving the dead don't have a map built in. Number 7. Non-functional items should be unlockables. When I say non-functional items, I'm referring specifically to class armor, ghosts, shaders, ships, emblems, and sparrows. All of these items have no significant functional purpose, with perhaps the exception of the sparrows. Not only that, but these worthless items, quote unquote myself, take up inventory and vault space. I find this somewhat irritating as it forces you to try and decide which of these are your favorites, so that you can discard the remainder to clear up space for more important inventory. The inventory slots for the shaders, class armor, and emblems fill up the quickest. Imagine if these items didn't take up inventory space, but were simply unlockables of the full selection within the game. In addition, they would be accessible to switch out at any time during gameplay. Number 6. Better bounty difficulty to reward correlation. I've noticed for some bounties this can be inconsistent. Some bounties are quite a bit more difficult than others, however the XP reward gained is lower. The Vanguard bounties seem to be the primary culprit in this. Now when I say difficult, I'm more so referring to the length of time it takes to complete. The vast majority of the bounties in this game are relatively skillless tasks, but some are quite a bit more time consuming than others. Also, though Vanguard reputation is a part of these rewards, most players are only interested in XP. I would like to see all bounties offer the same amount of Vanguard reputation and offer more than just 2 different levels of XP, 2500 and 5000. I think the actual spectrum of difficulty more likely has 3 or 4 levels. I'm thinking an XP reward scale of 2500, 3300, 4300, and 5000 is probably a much better spread. Number 5. Remove glide interruptions. Let me clarify what a glide interruption is for anyone that doesn't know what the hell I'm talking about. So after you jump, while still in the air, you can activate your glide ability. Your glide ability functions somewhat similarly to a jetpack, allowing you to glide up to higher places and across longer distances. This is an ability I'd like to be able to apply during combat in a more meaningful way. Unfortunately, currently while you're using your glide, you cannot simultaneously aim, shoot, melee, or even throw a grenade. Doing one of these things will immediately deactivate your glide, causing you to drop rapidly to the ground. Thus, I have deemed them glide interruptions. These interruptions are a bit counterintuitive since there's no reason to think your glide ability would have anything to do with using your arms. I think removing these would add an interesting dynamic to combat, and overall the mechanics would feel just a bit more realistic. Number 4. Allow skipping of cutscenes. This is one that I think everyone can agree with, right? To me, it is unfathomable that any game developer would neglect, or even worse, decide to leave out the ability to skip cutscenes. That feature should be a standard in modern games in my opinion. I mean, one of the major concerns in developing a game is reducing load times, because they understand that reduced load times correlate to increased player satisfaction. Watching these cutscenes is like the equivalent of sitting at a load screen. Playing through every story mission for the first time in this game is a small part of the overall time spent. That's because you will have to repeatedly replay several of these missions to complete daily bounties to level up gear and weapons, and then again if you decide to create additional characters. Why is it that with this type of game model, the ability to skip cutscenes wasn't an obvious necessity? Number 3. Increase personal inventory space. Although the Destiny Companion app has greatly assisted to alleviate this problem, transferring items between your inventory and your vault will be much more conveniently done in-game. To take that a step further, it would probably be much more convenient to simply have more personal inventory space for storing all of your stuff. This of course would eliminate the need to constantly go to your vault. It's nice to know you have everything you could possibly need, especially since most missions and strikes are best played with very different types of weapons and armor, and this is what results in the constant need to change out your gear. Number 2. Allow full view of Fireteam's inventory. Currently, Destiny includes a pretty cool feature that allows you to view the equipped weapons and armor of anyone in your game, on your Fireteam, or actively playing on your friends list. This can be a really helpful feature when playing 6-person raids, or really any game type that requires high levels of team cooperation. This ability allows you to make informed gear recommendations to teammates, and also helps give you an idea of which players have the strongest and weakest characters. This of course allows you to strategize much more effectively. It would be great if this concept was taken a step further by allowing a complete view of a Fireteam member's gear and inventory. For example, imagine if you could easily see what bounties your Fireteam members have equipped. It would make it extremely simple for you to pick up the same bounties without them having to describe each one to you. And number 1, remove sprint cooldown. So apparently there's a sprint limitation, and it's not that you can't sprint for as long as you want, it's that you can't stop and then sprint numerous times in succession. This is a constraint that's not immediately obvious when first picking up the game, primarily because there's no HUD indicator or mention of a cooldown at any point. From my basic understanding, it works similarly to your Sparrow's cooldown, but not exactly. Essentially how it works is if you sprint for a short period of time, about 6 seconds, and then you stop, your sprint function becomes disabled for about 2 or 3 seconds. It also seems that if you do several short sprints in succession, you'll experience the same result. I won't pretend that I understand exactly how it works, but I do know that it's very counterintuitive, and it's unlike anything I've experienced in an FPS before. Bungie, please remove this weird sprint logic from the game. Well, that's my list of top 10 improvements I'd like to see added to Destiny. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this topic, so please leave a comment. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please rate and or subscribe to the channel. This is Crazy Vazy Marazy logging out.
Let's go.